The Shadow of the Scourge, the 13th Big Finish Doctor Who audio release in the Big Finish main range, first released in 4 parts across CD, cassette and download in October of 2000. The 7th Doctor, voiced by Sylvester McCoy, and his companions Ace, voiced by Sophie Aldred, and Bernice Summerfield, voiced by Lisa Bowerman, arrive at the Pine Hill Crest Hotel in Kent on the 15th of August 2003, where 3 separate events are due to be happening. A cross-stitch conference, an experiment in time travel, and some type of religious get-together. While there, they encounter several other characters, including Annie Carpenter, a con artist voiced by Holly King, Mary Hughes, a character voiced by Caroline Burns-Cook, Mary's husband, Brian Hughes, the director of Hughes Aviation, voiced by Lennox Greaves, Annie's boyfriend or partner, Michael Pembroke, a scientist voiced by Michael Picillary, and Gary Williams, a cross-stitcher voiced by Nigel Fairs. Now, Michael Pembroke, he is the scientist who has managed to create a temporal accelerator and has managed to circumvent the uncertainty principle via the vacuum effect, whatever that means. But anyway. But these 3 events are very crucial because they end up all kind of stitching together with the religious get-together bringing a creature known as Orm. They're worshipping a creature known as Orm and end up bringing the Scourge, or the Scourge, through into our universe. Or at least the Scourge plan to use these events, all 3 together, in order to create a bridge for them to cross over into our universe and ultimately cause chaos. So it's up to the Doctor, Ace, and Bernice to find a way to stop the Scourge once and for all. Now, I'll admit, this is the first story of the main range, at least, to feature Lisa Bowerman as Bernice Summerfield, and compared to some of the other companions who were introduced via Big Finish audio dramas, ones like Evelyn Smythe, Erin M, or any of the 8 Doctor's companions, I'm not terribly familiar with Bernice Summerfield. Apparently, she wasn't just introduced in the Big Finish audio dramas, but she also was introduced in books and other media before this. So I personally am not that familiar with her as a companion. But from what I can hear here of this particular story, yeah, I think she does okay. Once again, Ace is one of my favourite companions, so if you're trying to pair anyone else with Ace, you're going to have an uphill battle with me. But I think Bowerman does a pretty good job of it. I think this is another kind of story, though, where I wasn't sure about it at the start, but then it does kind of get better as the story goes on. There are some beats that I didn't really understand, like the Scourge hold a power to make anyone obey them, obey anything they say. So partway through the story, in order to give them an upper hand, what everyone does is they formulate a plan to make Ace partially deaf, or wholly deaf, so that she can't hear the Scourge and therefore will be able to resist them. I guess I didn't really understand that all that well, but anyway. But as I said, this does have some good beats to it, and I do like some of the relationships they form, like Mary Hughes, well, spoiler alert, Mary Hughes does end up dying partway through, but then the Doctor says to Brian Hughes at the end that he tells him not to worry because he'll be seeing Brian again in about 10 years' time, and he will have another wife with him, he will have married again. And Michael Pembroke is revealed to have been in a kind of like a romance with Annie Carpenter, and she is now actually pregnant, so that's nice to hear. And Gary Williams does have to admit partway through to everyone that the cross-stitch conference was kind of like a scam to scam a load of people out of their money, but then they managed to use everyone together in order to defeat the Scourge, or the Scourge. As it turns out, they feed on fear, and so by experiencing hope altogether, they're able to push it back. So I don't know. The story has some good things, but it does tend to also get a little complicated. This was part 1 of 2 stories under the banner of Sidestep, taking Doctor Who into kind of alternate universes or parallel worlds or the like. People have spoke very highly of the other story in this particular set, the Holy Terror, which, I don't know, this might be the next one I review, but I can't honestly say that The Shadow of the Scourge is one of my favourite Doctor Who stories. I still think overall, One of my favourite Seven Thought stories would probably be Colditz. I really like that story, but I admit I found this one a little overly confusing, but who knows? Maybe I'll look back on it later and think, actually, this was really good. It's just evidently not for me. I mean, what do you think of The Shadow of the Scourge? Let me know down in the comments. Anyway, until next time, see ya.